Hi everyone. Um, uh, all right, sorry, I'm late. I'm late. All right, it is Tuesday morning, and it is freezing. I took my jumper off and I don't know why. Um, and yeah, it's Tuesday chat time. So sorry I am late. So hopefully some of you guys that regularly tune in are still on and are waiting around for me. But yeah, it's just one of them mornings. I was getting involved in what I was talking about and all the rest, and then I totally lost track of the time. So let me just bring that up there. Okay, so um, today I wanted to talk about, sorry, I'm just trying to find my notes. I wanted to talk about um, entering art competitions. Hi, Di. Hi, Karen. Yeah, it's bloody cold, isn't it? I don't know. It was the sun's not really coming out this morning. It's really struggling, and I think that's why it is so cold. But I think it was like 2 degrees or something this morning. So that's usually about as low as we go here. We get a bit of frost, but as soon as that sun's out, it's beautiful. So anyway, I know have talked about art competitions before, but I thought I'd go through um, and just go through, share some ones, and more specifically talk about animal art competitions, and share some sort of ideas of how to enter them and maybe be a bit more successful. And like why it's great to enter competitions as you're even as a beginner. I would even enter competitions. It just boosts your confidence. You learn a lot. So I'll go through all of that. Um, just let me find my notes again. Every time I put my notes on, I lose sight of the Facebook page. So it's because I've got them on a different format. I didn't think of that. But anyway, I'll just have to keep flicking back and forth to check any comments. Okay, so all right, so entering art competition. So like I was saying, there's some great advantages to do that, especially as you're getting better with your art. I know as a complete beginner, you're probably not even thinking about entering a competition, but as you get better and a bit more confident, it's definitely something to do that will help to improve your work as well. So they definitely increase the chance of your work being seen, which is good because you sort of want to the whole idea, I suppose, is to sell your work eventually. So being in a competition like that will definitely get more eyes on your work. It brings together like-minded artists, so it's a great way to sort of get to know who else is in your area, I suppose, and just other artists. Maybe there's artists you admire that might be in that same competition, and you might get to meet them. And I'm specifically talking about animal art competitions. So again, you're bringing together like-minded artists that share a passion for wildlife and animals. Okay, so you're not just meeting other artists; you're meeting other artists that have the same passion as you. Um, Animal art competitions quite often can promote conservation and raise awareness for certain causes, and environmental issues as well, of course. And they're also a good source of inspiration and motivation, because they do encourage you to push your boundaries a bit. I've got to keep flicking back. Hi, Jennifer, as well. Okay, so like there's all different things that can really benefit you by entering them. So the other thing with animal themed art appeals to a broad spectrum of collectors. So you'll find people that really love the technical skill, because a lot of animal art competitions quite heavily based on realistic depiction of the animal. They might be in a more abstract setting, some, but the animal itself, the structure of the animal is usually always correct. So, but you also might get collectors who just love the symbolic and emotional connections that the animals represent to them. Okay, so like I said, this is all about animal art competitions. All right, so I'll go through, I've got some notes here. So the benefits of entering animal art competitions. So exposure and recognition within a niche community. So you are targeting a niche customer and audience. So they're, if it is, there's two different types of competitions, I suppose. You've got, I'm going to share a lot of animal art competitions that are just for wildlife animals, but then there's other just general art competitions that have an animal section in them. So they'll have portrait, landscape, still life, miniatures, and then they'll usually have a wildlife or animal or a flora and fauna. So they'll have a section in that competition that you can enter your animal art in. But if you do just a specific animal art competition, that's where you're really going to get that targeted audience looking at the work. And there's not that many out there, unfortunately. I'm going to share my screen a bit later and show you a few of the bigger ones. But in general, you'll always find a lot of art competitions around. But like I said, they're a general art competition. But there are some that just focus on animals, which are good ones to get into. But of course, because there's not that many around, there's a lot of competition from artists in there. So winning or being shortlisted can really boost your sort of career for sure. Especially even just shortlisted to say you made it into the finals is amazing, because they do have so many people entering. They can only pick and choose like top 30 or top 50, something like that. So it's a big confidence boost if you can get into one. Okay, so there's also opportunities to connect with fellow animal artists and enthusiasts, which can of course lead to collaborations with other animal artists. Like maybe you might collaborate together, putting on an exhibition. There might be 2 or 3 artists all combine and do an exhibition together, which is a great way to collaborate with other artists. Or I don't know, they might have some online thing going that you could maybe teach with them or something like that. There's all different ways to collaborate. And then, of course, you'll meet art lovers who may want to commission you for an art piece. Okay, so it's all about getting your art out there and being seen, I suppose. So, and then, of course, the obvious, you've got a potential to win prizes, which they can sometimes, most offer cash awards, but some, I won once, it wasn't actually money. I won a beautiful National Geographic book on wildlife, and also a voucher to go and meet the cheetahs at Canberra Zoo. I think it was in Canberra, the zoo there. And cheetah experience I won, which was really cool. I didn't get to do it because Canberra is such a long way from me, but I gifted it to another person down that way who got to experience it. So they can be prizes like that, if not cash. They could be art materials. I know one of our art suppliers in Brisbane, they quite often give vouchers for art prizes. So you can go into the art shop and spend the voucher, or even some will offer grants and scholarships as well. So it's not just cash prizes, but yeah, there's a wealth of amazing things you can win. So also enhancing your portfolio and gaining credibility. So of course, even if you just get shortlisted, that goes straight onto your artist sort of bio type of thing, like your portfolio essentially. So you always keep a track of any awards and recognitions you get, and as you get further along in with your art, you'll start to maybe people will want to see your bio if you are trying to apply for an exhibition or something like that. And having that credibility of what you've won and accomplishments always helps for that. So, yeah, it's just a great addition to your resume. And then constructive feedback and skill improvement. So, of course, constructive criticism helps any artist. It helps us to develop and evolve our artistic style and technique. So it's a good way to get feedback off other artists, or you could even, if you're in, say, the opening of a art exhibition, you could stand back and listen to what other people are saying about your work. Don't take it to heart too much if they're saying bad things, but it's a good way to sort of figure out what people are drawn to and what part of your work they like. And of course, you could get sort of feedback from judges. You could go up and ask them. I know one of my friends, she went straight up and asked the judge why she came second or something like that, and asked what he thought about her piece. And it was a great way to get feedback from an actual art judge. So you've just got to have the confidence to go and ask. So it also, entering art competition will also enhances your motivation and inspiration, because of course, if you have entered a competition, you've got a goal to get to, aim to, and a deadline. And I know myself, I work best with deadlines. So it's a great way to get yourself motivated in that respect. And also being around other artists and seeing other artists' work can really inspire new ideas and in your own work. So like I always say, we still like an artist, so you're grabbing different ideas that inspire you from everyone. So it could just be the tiniest thing of like the way they've used a certain color in a piece, or you might love the way they did a background or the way they depicted the animal. So all of that you're taking in as well. So it's really is just getting out there and putting yourself in that area of with other artists. Hi Faye and Debbie. I'm glad you're enjoying the information with this. I'll have a worksheet that I'll put in the membership as well for those that are in the Creative Barn. But I'm putting together, it's quite a lengthy little ebook that I will have available later on. But the notes I'm doing now, I'll get into the membership so that you can refer back to it, because I know like listening to me speak is probably going in one ear and out the other, whereas if you've actually got it down in front of you, you've probably got a better chance of referring back to it if you do get to the stage you want to start entering competitions. So all right, so of course there's also publicity and marketing opportunities. So most competitions will have like a exhibition catalogue. So they'll print out catalogues. So everyone who attends the exhibition over the course of it, usually they're a month, some are only a couple of weeks, but everyone gets a catalogue and your name is in there, of course, if you're in the exhibition. and then they always share on their websites and social media. So at the moment, our local art society has their exhibition on, so they're sharing on their website and social media, and then it's being held in the larger art gallery in Maryborough. It's a council-run gallery. It's Gattaca's Art Space, it's called. But of course, there, because the exhibition's in there, and we actually have taken over the whole gallery, which is great. I think they said we had over 180 pieces submitted, which is amazing. It's absolutely gorgeous, all the work in there. But so Gattaca's, of course, are sharing on their website and their social media. So you've got like that whole, ripple effect as everyone shares, and like people, other artists that are in the exhibition, they've been sharing it as well. So, you've got you're reaching a big audience, really. And again, like I said, it's getting your work out there. So, and then of course, like I mentioned earlier, you're promoting conservation and awareness, if it is an animal art competition. So it really raises the public awareness about endangered species and environmental causes. So yeah, if you're into that, which I really love that side of wildlife art. So that's kind of a driving factor for me as well. And you can really really focus your art on that if that's where you want to head, and really tell a story and make impact with that type of thing, because that's the beauty of being a wildlife artist. We can raise awareness to certain animals so that are in danger, and of course there's many of them, which is not good. All right, so the types of animal art competitions, like I mentioned before, you have exclusive animal art competitions that are they're reaching a targeted audience. So the guidelines and submission, judging criteria, all of that are different to just a general art competition. So they strictly adhere to animal themes. So it could be, some are just generally animals, birds, whatever. But some might be a specific, like there might be endangered species, or it could be just elephants, or there's a few that are just birds. So yeah, but in general, they are animal specific. So you can't put a landscape. You can't put a landscape, but we know a lot of animal art includes landscape. You can't do like just people portraits, all of that sort of stuff. It has to be animals. And I was going to read out the judging criteria. Hold on. Judging criteria in exclusive animal art competitions prioritize anatomical accuracy, evaluating how precisely the artwork represents the animal's physical characteristics. Judges assess the portrayal of the animal's behavior, expression, and personality, alongside the artist's technical skill in their chosen medium. So the emotional impact and ability of the artwork to convey a message about that animal or its environment is crucial. So often considering the piece's effectiveness in raising awareness about conservation issues. So it's quite a specific judging criteria. Whereas you've got your general art competitions, like the one I'm in at the moment, it's just open to all types and styles of art, and it reaches a much broader audience as well. So you're not going to have just animal lovers going along to that art show. You're going to have a huge audience. Some people might not even like animal art, so they might be there just for the still life or something. So the judging is a little bit different in those type of art competitions. So it's not as strict, of course, to the animal like specific. So judging in general art competitions focuses on overall artistic merit, creativity, and originality, rather than specific subject matter details. Technical execution, composition, and visual appeal are evaluated, but less emphasis is placed on anatomical, I can't say that word very well, anatomical accuracy or behavior. So the impact of the artwork and its ability to engage and resonate with viewers is a significant factor, but the specific nuances of animal depiction are not as heavily weighted as an exclusive animal art competition is. Okay, so yeah, they're looking more for the story, just in general, just the feeling of an artwork. The technical skill isn't quite as important. It's more, how that artwork is felt by the judges, I suppose. So, so they're the two types of competitions, of course, that you can enter your art into as an animal artist. Carolyn, thank you. Oh, hi, Liz. Leslie, you're in the UK. Cool. You're up late. And Sonia, I haven't seen you for ages. All right, we're still going. I've got a lot of you. Okay, so strategies for success when entering a competition. So understanding the theme and requirements of each competition. So you really need to review those guidelines, especially when it comes to when I've talked last week about copyright-free reference images. Really make sure you are understanding those guidelines, whether you can enter something that you've done in a workshop, which is usually a no. Sometimes you can use a copyright-free reference image as long as you've got the okay from the photographer. But in general, I would just try and do something off your own images. Is probably the safest bet with competitions. Okay, so just, make sure you understand them. Research past winners, which is a big one, and trends. Okay, because the art world does change all the time at the moment, or not just recently, but I feel for the last few years, more abstract work has been taking like precedence over realism, especially. But again, depending on the competition you're entering. So you need to, usually you can research the judges as well. So I would look at who's judging, go back and look at the past winners, and that will give you an idea. That can alter a little bit because it depends if they've got different judges every time. So really, researching the judges is probably more essential than the past winners, but it's still nice to see what sort of artwork, because you might be entering like realism, like realistic artwork, but the competition, if you look at all the past winners and entries, it's probably not really what they're looking for at all. So you might be able to save yourself some money and not even enter that one. And like I said, trends as well. Just trends in the marketplace, colors, things like that. What people, just the general public, are looking for in art is always a good one as well. So, all right, ensuring high quality presentation and framing. We talk about this a lot all the time because it's so expensive to frame your work. So we quite often will use, I know myself, I'll go to Spotlight or somewhere and grab a frame. But the best thing is try and stick with very plain, simple frames. Make sure they've got a glass front. The backing board, if you're buying just a cheaper frame, change the backing board because it's not acid free. So put some foam board or MDF, I think might be acid free. I'm not sure, but acid free, anything acid free in the back. And sometimes what will really make a cheaper frame pop is getting mat boards cut, proper acid-free mat boards from a framer. You could even go a double mat, add color, whatever you want. So even though the actual frame might not have been as expensive, you've sort of enhanced it with mat boards and put a better backing on. If I know I'm creating a piece for an art competition, I will get it professionally framed. It just professional framing just really does enhance your artwork, but I know it's expensive. And what I'm talking about, like with art competitions, it's not the best time of year to even look at art competitions because they're pretty much all closed their doors at the moment. They're already sort of, there's still a few around that are taking entries, but it's better to give yourself time. So what I'm going to share some competitions, but maybe look at for next year or for when they're next on. Like, don't try and go, oh, there's one, the doors are closing in 2 weeks. What am I going to put in it? That's the sort of thing I do. And I'm not recommending that. It's better, you have a much better chance with a competition if you've made your work to suit the criteria of what they're looking for. So, like I said before, with understanding the theme and requirements and guidelines, some art competitions have a theme that you really need to focus on. So I created one of my dingoes that actually won. It was the theme was it wasn't endangered animals, but it was threatened species, I think is what it was called. It was quite a few years ago now. So I did a dingo, a Fraser Island dingo, because they're quite unique, and had the depiction of a 4-wheel drive in its eye, and it was called Misunderstood, Who's the Real Threat? Because if you know anything about Fraser Island, or Gari as it's now called, it's always a war between the dingoes' rights and the humans' rights, and how, you know, people are like always in a battle with them. So if you can focus your drawing to that theme, especially, and that takes time to figure out and come up with the idea of what you're going to do and then create the painting. So if you're going to enter an art competition, try not to rush it. That's what I'm trying to get at. So, all right. So with framing, so if I've taken the time to create a beautiful piece for a specific competition, then I usually make sure I get it professionally framed. Okay. So, all right. And ensuring, no, that was, yeah, presentation and framing. Another big one is storytelling through art, which a lot of my members know we do talk about storytelling a bit. So this is where you're sort of capturing the essence and personality of the animal. So I know a lot of my work, the animal is just sort of portrait style, but you want to really start to think of why you're creating that piece, why you're drawn. It can be a complete portrait like I do, but is there a reason why you're drawn to create it in that composition, sort of thing? So it's a good idea to take notes as you're coming up with ideas and write down why you're thinking of that particular composition, or even that particular animal, or why you're going to use those colors on it, or if it's positioned in a landscape, why it's in that landscape. Like, if you take notes as you're creating your piece, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to come up with a story. So effective storytelling through art can make your piece stand out and resonate more deeply with the audience and definitely the judges. So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for something that, yeah, it tells a story and has meaning, and people, that's why I think a lot of more abstract people like to be able to come up with their own ideas of what that means to them, I suppose. So that, I feel like that's why a lot of judges and stuff, even though, yeah, I don't know what the story is with most abstracts, I don't get them, but if they've, you know, got a story to it, that's usually what sells. You know, it's all good marketing, really. But I find if you're writing down ideas, like as you're coming up with it, or even as you're drawing it, you might be loving a certain part of it, or, you know, just start thinking about the story behind the piece, And that goes a long way, because not all art competitions want your story at all. They just want to know, usually the general art competitions, they just want your name, medium, price, and the name of the piece. That's pretty much all they care about. But a specifically targeted animal exhibition that might be focused on endangered species, they will want a story to go with your piece. Okay, so like an artist statement usually. All right, what was this one? Oh, strategies. So what have we gone through? Understanding the theme, researching past winners and trends, ensuring high quality presentation and framing, storytelling through art, and then technical excellence. So mastering the anatomy, the texture, the expression, all of that sort of stuff. So just mastering your techniques and your medium. So that's what I always encourage. We all love to play with all different mediums, but try and pick one that you'll spend more time focusing on and getting really good at it. And then you can push the boundaries on it and experiment more once you've mastered the techniques. So a lot of mediums will transfer across to others. So if you're learning the basis of art and all your values and your line work and all of that stuff, then that will transfer across. So the better you get at it, the easier it will become to start to create different ideas and different sort of compositions and all that sort of stuff. So technique is very important, of course. Just let me check this. All right, we're still going. Okay, I've got one more before I'm going to share my screen and just share a few art awards that are animal focused. Okay, because like I said, they're few and far between, really. All right, so preparing your submission. So select your best work. And then, of course, like I was saying, you might create work for that competition, but if you've already got work, a competition comes up, make sure you select your best work. And they usually need to be quite recent as well. I know, looking at a lot of the art competitions I've entered lately, they don't want them any older than 2 years, usually is about the oldest. So, but yeah, definitely your best work always. Professional photography and digital submission tips. So use professional photography techniques. So that doesn't mean you need to go and pay a photographer every time you finish a painting, but techniques in capturing a high quality image of your art. Nowadays, our phones, especially if you've got newer ones, mine's a 13 and it doesn't capture high enough megapixel to turn it into a print. But to enter a competition, it probably is all right. But make sure you got it set up, you're taking a photo at like parallel to your camera or your phone. None of this angled photography. Make sure the lighting's good. You've got like soft light around on it, or on an overcast day outside is a good one as well. And just really take pride and take care in the photos you're submitting, because that's what the judges are looking at, especially the online ones or even the in-person ones. If there's a selection criteria, so if you need to be shortlisted to get in, then the judging is off that photo. Okay, so make sure it's a good one. And if you enter any online art competitions, which I'm not really covering here, but there are a lot out there. But again, the whole judging, everything is done online. So really make sure you've got the correct color representation of your work, so you can tweak it in Photoshop. Even a lot of the phones now, there's a lot of editing that you can tweak the color, and you're not trying to enhance the color or anything. You want it to look the same as your artwork, so you're trying to get it to look exactly the same. Okay, and usually, yeah, they need to be fairly high resolution. So normally I would probably take a photo with, I've got a good camera, but I do want to upgrade my phone, so that way it's just going to be easier to take good quality photos with the phone. So, all right. So another thing for preparing your submission is writing. Again, not all art competitions want this, but a focused animal one probably will. They want a compelling artist statement and a description of your artwork. So you need to think about your statement. That's what I was saying. Write down your artist statement is about that piece that you're entering. Okay, your artist bio is about you. The artist statement is about that piece and the story behind the piece, why you painted it. Okay, so that's what I was saying. It's easier if you've taken notes when you've created that work. It's easier for you to come back and sort of write a statement. And of course, there's always Chat GPT, which helps. I've used that to help with my artist bio. So I'm not the most like, I speak English, of course, but I'm not great at putting it down so it sounds good. So I write what I want it to have, all about me and everything. Or the artist statement, I'll write what I want it to say. But then you could go into Chat GPT and ask it to rewrite it more professionally, or rewrite it in first person or third person. So they're not writing it for you, they're just fixing it up so it sounds a bit nicer than and a bit more professional, I suppose. So yeah, don't forget about those AI things like that. It can help and it makes your life a lot easier. So, but don't ask it to write it for you, because it doesn't know you really, does it? So make sure you write it and it's just being used to copyright it, I suppose, fix it up, fix any sort of probably spelling mistakes and all that stuff as well. So, all right. So, and again, meeting your deadlines, don't miss your deadlines, and follow the submission guidelines, of course. So, like I said earlier, make sure you comply with the rules about. Usually, a lot of the rules, there's ones about the size of it. Don't forget to check that. How many entries you can enter in each thing. I mucked up the other day in one. I entered 2 in the same category, which wasn't allowed. So just things like that. Really make sure you've got it. I know one of our ones locally, they had little, you could cut out the little flyer thing that had your name, price, all the details on, and they wanted it stuck on the left-hand side of the back of your artwork, and people were sticking it all over the place. And I know it's not a big thing, but I think it can get frustrating for those that are running the show. So, all right. So yeah, and also careful attention to detail like that. You demonstrate professionalism as well. Okay, so let me share my page. Hold on. This is so helpful and interesting. Thanks so much. No worries, Jennifer. All right. Like I said, for you guys in the membership, I'll put my notes in there. Okay, I'll figure out how to share my page. I will start with the biggest one first. Share screen, share screen, share screen. Okay, and you will probably just go, wow, when you see this painting of the gorilla or a chimp. I think it's a chimp, is it? Or a gorilla? I think it's a chimp. All right, so the David Shepherd Wildlife Artist of the Year competition. Now, this attracts the top animal artists all around the world. It's held in the UK. It would be a bucket list item for me to go to the exhibition one year. It's in London. So if you live in the UK, definitely check it out one year when you can. It'd just be amazing. Just like I said, they're the best animal artists in the world. enter this, and it's a selection process. So you've got to enter your work, and then of course they find, like, they only accept, I think it's probably about 100 or more. It's a pretty big show. And then to enter a competition like this is where you've got to think about your costs as well, because if you like, this would be a definite resume booster if you even got a finalist in this competition. So you got to think of it that way. It's probably worth spending money. But for us in Australia, if you get accepted, you've got to ship your work to London. Okay, so I have no idea the costs involved in that, but I know just to ship my art to Sydney is $240. So, and you need it to arrive safely. So yeah, so it's just something that you've got to think about, but to have it on your resume that you're a finalist in the David Shepherd Wildlife Artist of the Year is huge. So it probably is worth spending some money there. But again, like I said, most of these, I think all these competitions for this year have closed or they're in exhibition stage. So oh, here we go. So if you are in the UK, the 2nd to the 6th of July, go down and check it out, and I'll be so jealous. It's in the Mall Galleries in London. So okay, so yeah. I'm not sure who won this year. This artwork here is by Steve Nair. Okay, so this is probably the top tier of any animal, like specific animal artist competition. Okay, then we have, I've got a few more here. So this one, the Society of Animal Artists, I think this is in the US, this one. Again, it's already been up, and like their exhibition, I think, is already done. So it's Society of Animal Artists. Oh, it's for artists from around the world, but I'm pretty sure they're based in the US. Okay. But so yeah, but again, you can enter these. The biggest problem with a lot of these ones, that it's great if they're in your country. But if you're, like, say in Australia and these are overseas, getting in them and having to ship your work is a huge thing. Whereas there's a lot of online art awards nowadays, and that as well is a nice little merit and something that you can put in your bio as well. But make sure they're legit online ones, and they're, you know, they you don't have to ship your work or anything, you know, so they're probably a little bit easier. But like I said, specific animal art competitions are quite few and far between. So these were really just a few I found. But yeah, there's not a lot out there. So how cute is this little spider's eyes? I think it's a spider, maybe it's an owl. Oh, it could be an owl. Looks like one of those little tiny jumping spiders, you know, where they zoom right up on them. But anyway, I'm not sure. But this one is the Wildlife Art Society International. Again, the worksheets I've got will have links to all of these. So it's called Twazi, and this is in the UK. But again, it's a worldwide thing. Okay, so again, their exhibition is finished, just finished. So, but like I was saying, these are things you can look at for next year or the year after. Like, you can plan in advance. A lot of them haven't. You can look at their past exhibitions and figure out what their guidelines are going to be, but a lot probably haven't put their guidelines out for the following exhibition yet, because they're only just finishing up at the moment. But isn't that beautiful? I think that even looks like it could be pastel to me. But anyway, all right, what else did I have? What's this one? These are some Australian ones I think I've got here now. So the Melbourne Flower Show has a huge art competition. So you can see by this picture, there's a lot there. So if you're down that way, again, maybe keep an eye out and look at when it is on. It doesn't really say too much here because they've probably finished their exhibition already. I'm not sure when this one is. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh no, March 2025. So you should be able to find out information on their website about how you get your work into this exhibition. You may have to be part of an art society down there. Yeah, look, a number of Victoria's finest art societies come together. So if you're down in Victoria, which I know there's a lot of viewers that are, maybe look at what art societies come together if you want to be part of this. It'd be a great experience because I imagine the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show would have lots of visitors. So it would be a great way to have your work out there. So, and most people that are visiting garden flower shows, they're into decorating their houses as well. So they kind of probably are looking for artwork. So that would be a great one if you were down that way. Oh, this one's another overseas. This is Sketch for Survival. So it's by Explorers Against Extinction. Oh, that's something I didn't mention with the David Shepherd one. I'm pretty sure it is. Oh no, it's not just endangered species. They do have different categories. One of them is endangered species, one's environment impact, things like that. So as you find, most animal competitions and that are all about, they usually feature conservation in some way. But Sketch for Survival, so they pick 100 artworks. Anyone can enter. It's free to enter, which is amazing. So yeah, and they also have one for juniors. There's your competition guidelines. So another one, it's a well-known one. So it's one you could also enter and put on your resume as well, that especially if you got picked as a finalist. So okay, what else do we have? The Holmes Prize for Realistic Australian Bird Art. That's up here near me, or it's in Sunshine Coast. This one's just finished as well. But this attracts some of Australia's best wildlife artists, but it has to be an Australian bird is what their the criteria is. But you can see from the quality of this artwork, oh, it is amazing. I can't. All right. Too many things. So unfortunately, they don't seem to have a website. They've only got the this Facebook page. So, but it is, even though it doesn't look that professional, it is one of Australia's leading bird art competitions. And like I said, it does attract some of Australia's best wildlife artists into it. And it's definitely one I aim to enter. I've just been, it comes around too quick every year and then I don't have time. But it's something I would love to enter. And also that would be, you know, my art, one of my art bucket list things as well, to get accepted into this one. I think they only accept around 30 or so. So it's pretty well sought after, that one. And then I do have one more, which is if you're in Tassie, doesn't have to be just Tassie, but this is another bird one. So it's the Bruny Island Bird Festival Art Exhibition, and it has to feature, I think it's just Tasmanian birds. Okay, so it's a really tight, specific competition, so Tasmanian birds. But yeah, another great one to enter for an animal artist. But I think, let me stop sharing. I think if you're especially just starting out. I think even as a beginner, I would encourage everyone to start entering competitions if they get a chance, even just your local show, or your local art society. But as you get better and better, that's when I would start to look at some of the more specific competitions. And because like I would start with the, like I said, just your local show, and then your general art society competitions, general competitions that have just an animal section, and then move on to these specific targeted competitions, because there's not many. Like I was saying, they do attract some of the best artists, so the competition is pretty fierce. So that's where I think as you get better and better, that can be your sort of the way you target your competitions. All right, let me just check. I think, yes, I think I've done all my notes. So we're good. Okay, and I've been talking for nearly an hour. So hopefully that has given you some ideas and inspiration, and try and just take your time and research. I think that's the main point I want to get across with this. Don't be like me, who quite often will go, oh, there's a competition. What have I got lying around? Because I have a lot of paintings lying around. So I quite often will just grab a few and put it in, which is fine in a general art competition because there's no theme. But what I wanted to start doing myself is pick a competition, research it, one of these more animal specific ones. I might even start with the Holmes Prize. I think it's run yearly. It might be every 2 years, but that's one I think I know it's got to be Australian bird. I've already got reference images that I've taken that I'm pretty sure I want to do for it. But I could start with going, right, I'm going to enter this competition. I have a year to get it ready. Let's start going out and finding some reference images. So start going to zoos or bird parks, or just in my local farm here, like just go out and about. We have a lot of galahs and all different bird life here. So just really focus on getting some photos, starting to come up with ideas. If I've checked the theme, make sure there's not a particular theme, which I'm pretty sure the Holmes Prize is just Australian birds, that's it. Whereas say if I wanted to enter the David Shepherd wildlife one, they have about 6 different categories in that. So I would then have to pick, right, what category am I going to do, and then just focus on that, and that come up with my ideas that way. And then, like I said, research the past winners and past entrants and all that sort of stuff, and just start to figure it out. And when you've got a whole year, then you can make sure you're creating the best you possibly can for that competition. Okay, all right. I will leave you all now. I've got to head off into town, and hubby's out there waiting for me. I told him I'd be half an hour, so an hour later. But the one thing I did want to mention, I've put the link in the chat here, is coaching week is coming up in July. So I'm calling it Soft Pastel Weeks, because we're going to focus just on soft pastels this time. And we're celebrating the opening of the Creative Balm Premium tier once again. It's only open twice a year. So it's the best time to get in, of course. It won't be open again till 2025. So Soft Pastel Week, we're doing a dog portrait from start to finish. So sorry, I was trying to find it. I don't know where it is. So we're doing live sessions, and I'm gonna guide you through creating a full portrait of a dog, and it's gorgeous. And you'll learn background techniques. You'll learn fur, eyes, all of that stuff. Throughout the week, and you'll end up with a finished piece, which I'm positive you'll love. So it is $7 US to join. If you are a member already of the Creative Barn, either premium or essentials tier, please do not follow any of my links and pay, because you guys are already get it free, and I'll send you invites probably later today to join the Facebook group. So there's you set if you do pay as someone who's not a member already, your $7 includes all the recordings for as long as you want. So we've got a private Facebook group for it. And also you'll get access to a module on my website that you can go back to in 6 months, a year, whenever you want. And that's where you'll have access to all the recordings. So that's what your $7 covers. Okay. And also I find if people have put money in the game, then they'll be more attentive and put in more effort, I think, and just attend. So yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. It doesn't kick off till the 14th of July, so a few weeks away yet, but you can sign up already, and that link is in the comments. All right, thank you everyone, and I'll see you next week. Bye.